maximum red alert. This is not a drill, guys. This is serious. NATO countries are under attack. Russian missiles have hit Poland. Russian missiles have hit Poland. Multiple casualties have been reported. This is insane. This could be the moment in history that changes everything, right? This is not a drill, guys. This is serious. When I read this article, I got so just like worked up. I was like, this could not be real. I was clicking on the links thinking, this is not real. This is not real. This cannot be a real event that's happening right now. And it is red alert, maximum alert. If you are in Europe, prepare for martial law. All right, it's happening. Russian missiles have hit Poland and multiple casualties have been reported. This could be the event that is looked back in history that journalists, everyone says, historians say, this was it. This was when World War III started. This was it. This was when NATO got dragged in, had to do something, right? This is going to change everything, guys. And the Prime Minister of Poland is having an emergency meeting right now to see what the response is. This just happened. This is breaking news. I wanted to get this video out as quick as possible to you guys because this is maximum alert. You need to be getting prepared. Wherever you are in the world, this could affect you if Article 5 is implemented and there are attacks on Russia. This will affect everyone. All right, you need to be getting prepared. You need to have your stockpiles up. You need to have food. You need to be ready for martial law to be potentially declared in NATO countries, especially Europe, especially Eastern European countries. This is massive. This is huge, right? All right, so this is insane, guys. This could literally change the world. Right? This could be a moment in history that they look back and say, World War III started, right? This is it. NATO is dragged in. So at least 2 people have perished after Russian missiles land in NATO state Poland on the Ukraine border. It says the Prime Minister of Poland has called an emergency meeting following the explosions. This is crazy, guys. This is red alert, maximum alert. Poland was saying just a couple weeks ago that they wanted to put nuclear weapons inside of their borders. They have the outdated nuclear weapons from World War II that are essentially obsolete, I believe, from what I've read. But they wanted new, updated nuclear weapons to be placed inside of their borders just recently, just within the last couple weeks. And the U.S. has put in expedited orders to get these new nuclear weapons to Poland and to certain tactical NATO countries that they want to have them in. So what if this missile hit a nuke in Poland, right? And what if it was fed? What if it hit one in Poland? And then what if they said the Russians dropped a nuke in Poland? This is so dangerous. And what if they actually did drop one in Poland, right? That could happen too. This is so freaking dangerous, guys. We are playing with not even just like a little torch. We're playing with a massive wildfire and hoping it doesn't just burn the whole planet down. This is crazy. This is insane. And look out for Article 5 to be declared. Look out for martial law to be declared in Europe. And get your supplies now. All right? Western governments were already preparing for, quote, panic buying and people fleeing the cities en masse. I made a whole video on this, a report out of The Guardian just a couple weeks ago. If a massive event like this happens, if Russia strikes a NATO country or a nuclear device is dropped, they are preparing for people to flee the cities and to panic buy. So hopefully you've been listening to my videos, you've been getting prepared, you've been stockpiling, but do you have enough? Do you really have everything you need? It's one of these things. It could happen so quickly. It happens overnight. The world can change overnight, right? We're going to see all these signs. We will see, every day. Every day I'm pointing out the signs. We're trying to connect the dots. But the big one, when it really happens, it's just gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's like this crypto collapse thing. It just happened like overnight, and everyone lost their money. All right, people just realize that it's a scam overnight. They have no money. They're insolvent. Everyone tries to get their money out. It's like the big things always happen quick. They always happen quick, and this is one of those big things that might change the entire planet. All right, this is huge, and you need to be prepared. Like, are you ready for martial law to be declared? Right? Are you ready for potentially to be cut off from supplies for weeks? Right? I made a whole report just a few days ago on this leaked secret government document, and they are saying people need to be prepared to have no government support, no supply chain support, or anything for weeks. All right. So this is huge, guys. Let's dive into what else is going on here in Poland. It says 2 people have passed in Poland after 2 Russian rockets landed near the Ukrainian border in Poland. The rockets landed in the NATO state following Russia's mass bombardment of Ukrainian cities earlier today, which saw over 100 rockets launched. 100 rockets launched. And they're saying apparently a couple of them straight off into Poland. It says, according to the AP news agency, a senior U.S. intelligence official said that the missiles were of Russian origin. Poland's prime minister has convened the committee of the Council of Ministers for National Security and Defense Affairs as a, quote, matter of urgency, the government spokesman confirmed with local news stations, right? So their National Security Council is meeting with the president right now to see the response. All their top generals, all their top defense people, they're all meeting to see what do we do for this. And they're probably talking with the United States and other NATO countries. We will probably see an emergency NATO meeting as well. The next 24 to 72 hours are going to be absolutely critical. The rhetoric we see from Poland, from NATO, from the US, all this stuff, it's going to be critical because we could see a response, and this could trigger Article 5. It says rockets fell in the town of, I cannot pronounce this. I'm a guy in the US from Florida. All right, I cannot pronounce this. I'm sorry about this, but it's Przewodów. That's the town's name. That's how you spell it. It hit that town and also hit grain dryers in the town. It says the police, the prosecutor's office, and the army are reportedly already on the site. Meanwhile, Polish armed forces are reportedly on, quote, high alert. This is red alert, guys. Maximum alert if you were in Europe. All right, this is huge. They could clamp down at any moment. They could say, we are worried more Russian missiles are going to come. We are worried a Russian tactical nuke could spread over, and they could easily clamp down in a second. All right. The attack could prompt Poland to trigger NATO's Article 5 provisions, calling on all the treaty members to attack Russia. According to Article 5, an attack against one NATO ally is considered an attack against all allies. This is very serious, guys. We are entering the Rubicon. We are crossing the horizon. We are entering into the phase where NATO countries are being hit, right? It's not just Ukraine. It's not just isolated. It's going to spill over more and more, all right? And we saw Russia pull out of all these key cities, and then a few days later, there's a mass bombardment, all right? We kind of knew, we kind of predicted, right? Articles were predicting this, I was predicting this, that this could happen, all right? This could kind of be a trap, a withdrawal just to bombard more cities. And now they are saying they're having mass blackouts all throughout Ukraine as well. And Poland also scrambled military jets in response to this. So they probably saw on their radars these missiles entering. They said the missiles fell 65 kilometers within Poland. 65. I don't know exactly the calculations, but whatever, 30, 45 miles inside of the borders of Poland, right? This is huge, huge. It's not like it was a mile in, half mile in, barely. It was, and it hit a city too. It hit a town. It's kind of strange, kind of weird, all right? Just a little weird. I'm sure most of Poland is just like land, that's how most countries are, is just there's little cities, but then most of it is vast land. The odds of it hitting this city is just very strange. And it was 65 kilometers within Poland, 30, 40 miles, something like that. I don't know exactly. Inside the borders of Poland, right? Very strange and very just suspicious, like what's going on? Crazy, right? It says, quote, the most important people in the country are attending Poland's emergency meeting, according to local news outlets. The station also reported that military planes were scrambled in response. The price of oil has already reacted to the rockets landed in Poland, climbing 2.3% to 87.82 according to the West Texas Intermediate benchmark. So this is happening fast. That's what I mean. It could happen overnight. And we're already seeing this oil embargo being implemented on Russia on December 5th. I've been hammering this because it's key. It's going to change everything. It's going to disrupt the global international energy markets, okay? Totally disrupt them and totally disrupt the supply chains for it as well. Just pretty much just ruin them, right? But this is going to make it even worse, right? Because now they might just go all in on these embargoes. They might just I don't know, do something even crazier with them. Just ban everything from Russia. You know what I mean? Like anyone that trades with Russia, they're going to declare war on them. Who knows? These sanctions, these embargoes aren't stopping. And now we're seeing an attack on a NATO country as well. So look out for that too. We could see a military response from NATO. Okay? Definitely we could see, maybe this is the next step. NATO officially moving into Ukraine and hitting Russia in Ukraine. Maybe this is the response. Maybe they won't hit Russia directly, but maybe this will be the thing to push NATO and say, we are going to enter Ukraine. This is too much. You are too close to our borders. You're hitting our countries now. We're going to enter Ukraine too, and we're going to fight. Maybe then they will hit Russian targets in Ukraine directly, they will be like, this is NATO doing this. It's not even like NATO's funding it. It's NATO soldiers doing it, because there's already U.S. soldiers in Ukraine, all right? There's already CIA agents in Ukraine. This was all reported in the New York Times. They made a whole video on it. And there's NATO commandos and commanders in Ukraine as well. And they're all calling the shots and making operational decisions, making decisions. They're not actually doing anything on the ground. Apparently, that's what they're saying. But they're admitting that they're in Ukraine and they're making decisions for the Ukrainian army, all right, and training them and all this other stuff. So maybe the next step will be NATO and the U.S. military will move into Ukraine and they will help Ukraine hit Russia. And they will say, because it's for their own national security interests. This is getting very, very dangerous, right? And it says mass blackouts in Ukraine, hundreds of missiles fired, hitting their critical infrastructure just right before winter. All right, they are screwed. Honestly, that's another thing. It's like there's this big withdrawal, but then there's winter coming, and all of the infrastructure is completely destroyed. It's going to be very hard to hold on to this territory all winter with no power or anything like that. It's going to be a big deal. And it says airstrikes have even affected neighboring Moldova. All right, so Moldova's right next to Ukraine. It's saying the airstrikes have even hit Moldova, and there's blackouts there. All right, this is crazy. This missile strike is huge that happened, massive. All right, so what does this mean? it means you need to get prepared, guys. It means martial law could happen at any time. And it means these events could happen at any moment. You never know when it's going to hit. You really don't. You really don't. We see the warning signs, and those are like the flashers to get prepared. But we never know when the big one's going to hit. This could be it, guys. When I read this, I was clicking on the article thinking, this could not be real. I do not want this to be happening, all right? But it's real. This is happening. Get prepared right now, guys. This is not a joke. Red alert, maximum alert. Once people realize this happened, especially in Europe, there's going to be panic. They're going to be like, oh, like these Russian missiles can hit us? Like, what are we going to do? You need to get ready. And hopefully you're already prepared and you don't need to like rush to the store and get anything. But maybe there's a few little last minute things that you need, all right? Just a few little things. Maybe you need a generator, all right? We could see an EMP. We could see a nuclear strike. We could see more missile strikes. We could see the U.S. go in. We could see all these events happen. And you need to be prepared, all right? Have a generator. That's probably the next step going along with it, all right, is martial law declared if this does escalate. And then we will see panicking and shortages and rationing of everything, because then the energy is going to be totally cut off, right? The energy markets, everything's going to be split. It's just going to be the U.S. and Europe are on their own, right? OPEC is probably not going to continue to fund the U.S. and all this stuff if a massive war pops off. Definitely Russia's, and Russia's not going to produce a single thing. But we could see OPEC respond to Iran, Saudi Arabia. We could see these countries totally pull back their oil production. And guess what? The strategic oil reserves are empty. Empty. This is the point of these reserves, is if there's a massive war, right? And we know that we're on the edge of this war, but for some reason, there's no urgency to replenish these stockpiles. So they're empty, nothing. Good thing we at least could up oil production, but it's like I said, it could happen quick. What if they need this oil tomorrow? What if they need 100 million barrels tomorrow for the military, all right, to start their operations or to whatever? It's not there. It is not there. And they would have to just take it from the markets to the, international markets and cause a massive shock to the markets as well. That's a big reason why they can't even replenish the stockpiles, because they drain the stockpile to keep the price, they drain the stockpile to keep the price of gas down, all right? But then they need to replenish it, and replenishing it, there's literally 700 million barrels that could be put in the stockpile to replenish it. It's going to be a massive shock on the market, because they're going to have to buy hundreds of millions of barrels off the market, right? And just shock the market. So it's one of these things, and probably cause prices to go up. So it's just one of these things we kind of just cut our own hand off or whatever. Cut our own nose off. It's like, why do we do this, right? And now we could be dragged into this war. What if this happens, guys? This is, like, when I read this, I was anxious. I keep saying it, but I was just like, this could not be true. But this is true. This hit 30, 40 miles inside the border of Poland, multiple missiles, and it hit a city. It didn't even hit a cow field or something. It hit a city. People have lost their lives from this. This is extremely urgent, extremely important, and we could see the collapse of even more of the international supply chain, the international energy markets, very, very, very quickly, right? And this could even be Russia. Maybe it wasn't an accident, right? This could even be Russia lashing out because of this oil embargo that will be implemented on December 5th, right? Very extreme, or just testing the waters. They could be seeing, can we get away with a couple of stray missiles in Poland? Can we get away with that? Can we get away with hitting NATO a few times, right? Direct Russian missiles, apparently. We are just playing a very dangerous game. I also reported on this a couple weeks ago how there are, it reminded me because I was thinking about Moldova again. There are U.S. and NATO forces right on the border of Ukraine, right near Moldova, and they were saying they sent the I can't remember the number of the airborne, but they sent one of the airborne regiments over there that haven't been activated since World War II. Okay, so they sent a very critical airborne group over there. I can't remember the top of my head. I'm sorry about that. They call them the Screaming Eagles. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but they call them the Screaming Eagles. And they were deployed to the border of Ukraine, and they said they are ready to go in Ukraine. This was what one of the commanders was saying about this deployment. He was saying that they are ready to enter Ukraine if things escalate in Ukraine. They are ready. NATO's ready to go into Ukraine if things escalate. This looks like an escalation to me, so maybe that will be the next step, is NATO directly fighting Russia, because it's been a proxy war. Maybe we will see NATO directly hitting Russian targets. NATO planes with the NATO flag, U.S. planes, all of it, all right? U.S. flags on it, hitting Russian targets in Ukraine. I think that's what we're going to see next. And then it's like, what is Russia going to do? What's going to be the response from Russia if NATO is directly hitting them, right? Very dangerous, very volatile situation that we are entering. And it's sad, guys. It's sad. I keep saying stuff like this, but it's just true. I have a 3-year-old. I have a 10-month-old. I want my kids to grow up in a peaceful world, right? I want them to have peace in the world. I don't want them to grow up in a destructive, radiated, one world government world. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And that's what we are heading towards. And you don't have to believe this. I'm not pushing this on you or anything like that. You can do whatever you want. But I'm telling you what I did, all right? I said a prayer after I read this because I was worried. I said a prayer for peace. I was praying for peace and for this not to escalate, because this really could be a moment in history where this is it. Like, they look back in the history books and they're like, this is when World War III started. This is when NATO responded to Russia. And it's perfect. It's like Russia hit NATO. NATO like has to respond. NATO has to do something now. We have to start a war, instead of what people like me, right? Tons of people are saying this. Instead of pushing for peace past 6 months, like urgently pushing a peace negotiation, a peace deal, some kind of compromise, right? It's how it is. You're dealing with a massive nuclear power, right? It's like the U.S. invading whatever, like these countries. It's like, what are we going to do? Are we going to drag this out for 20 years? Or can we just end this, right? Can we just end this? Can we just have a peace deal and end it, right? And it's one of these situations where it's been neglected the past 6 months. The urgency of peace has been neglected. And it's almost like they want something like this to happen. They've been poking and prodding and antagonizing and funding and everything, and just like hoping maybe something happens, almost. You know what I mean? It's like almost to this point, it's like from both sides. It seems like both sides almost want a massive confrontation. Like they just want to, I don't know. I could be wrong, but it seems like a lot of antagonizing and poking is going on. And then we see spillovers, right? Then we see stuff like this. It's crazy. We need to push for peace. We need to end this, guys. It feels like a dystopian nightmare, right? And these leaders are so unaccountable. They're so unaccountable to us. They just have their finger on the button and they can just do whatever they want. It's unaccountable. There's no vote. There's no anything. Even in the U.S., right? Even I'm talking about the United States too, right? Russia, United States, China, North Korea, all these countries, the finger's just on the button, and it's like, who's to stop? There's no vote. There's no like to see if the people want this. Do the people want war? Where's the vote? We just had a bunch of votes. Where's the vote? Why didn't we put that on the? That should have been a national election question in the United States. Should we keep this war going? Yes or no? Yes or no? Should we keep funding people to get bombed? All right, yes or no? Even General Milley came out, all right? One of the top generals in the U.S., and I'm not the biggest fan, not gonna lie, not the biggest fan, but I understand he's a general. But even Milley came out, and he was saying that Ukraine should just kind of cut their losses and just take peace, because he was even saying like they're not gonna win. Like they're not gonna win. He said they can stop them, but they can't win. That's what he was saying. He was just saying like it's just different. It's two different countries. One's a superpower, one's not. And the only reason why one has been propped up so long is because, or is held out so long, is because they've been propped up by NATO and the United States. Right? So even a top U.S. general, General Milley, on the U.S. Security Council and everything, was pushing for Ukraine to just have a peace deal, right? But then, I was reporting on this yesterday, they're pushing back, right? Administration officials are pushing back and saying that Ukraine shouldn't capitulate to Russia, saying they made all these gains and they're doing good and they've held out all this time, and they're saying that they shouldn't give in, they should just keep going, right? It's just, we need to be realistic. What's going to save lives? What's going to save the most lives? What's going to get the supply chains back on? What's going to get the energy markets back on? What's going to just get us back to normal as soon as possible? And that's a peace deal, right? That's what we need, is not just more escalations, right? So thank you guys for watching. Red alert. If you are in Europe, get prepared now. Seriously, get off this video. Click off. Thank you for watching. Watch me tomorrow again. All right. If you can, right? If there's not martial law declared in Europe, I'm being serious. Go to the store right now. Click on this video right now. If you're in Europe, go to the store and get whatever little other things you need, because this could be it, guys. And if you're in the U.S. too, get prepared as well. All right. Stockpile your stuff. Hopefully you already have your stockpile, but get the little things. I'm low on toilet paper and paper towels right now, right? That's one of the things that I always forget to stockpile. I like buy a bunch of it and then I use it all, but I don't. I always forget to like put it in my reserves with my food and everything, all right? So just think of those little things that you need to get, because once this hits the mainstream news, we could see people like start panicking, guys. This could be it. This could be Article 5 activated, NATO responds, and then we just see a big back and forth. We do not want this. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but I will keep you updated. Please hit it up down there if you guys like this stuff. Please subscribe, hit the bell too if you really like it. I will keep you updated on this news over the next 24 to 72 hours. It's going to be developing, and we could see Article 5 activated. So thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, stay prepared, and stay blessed. All right. Thank you guys. Have a blessed day.